a year and a half after it was published. A controversial Japanese paper linking the HPV vaccine Gardasil with neurological damage has been retracted by the journal that published it. But now critics are wondering why it took the editors of scientific reports so long to act, a contentious delay that lent credibility to ill-informed health fears that have seen HPV vaccinations plummet in Japan over the past several years. I'm pleased that finally they did manage to retract it, but it was a very long process, molecular biologist and HPV prevention expert Alex Vestes from the University of Antwerp in Belgium told Science, although he acknowledges the research, due to anti-vaxxer momentum, will probably reappear in another journal. The paper in question, published in 2016, sought to examine the scientific basis for what it called HANS, HPV vaccination-associated neuroimmunopathetic syndrome. If there is such a syndrome, it's not something that's recognized by scientists at large, but media reports in Japan beginning in 2013 began citing anecdotal evidence of alleged side effects stemming from HPV vaccinations, mainly in young women. Complaints included symptoms analogous to chronic fatigue syndrome, headaches, tiredness, difficulty in concentrating, and pain. Spurred by the efforts of anti-vax campaigners, Japan's government ceased recommending HPV vaccinations to the public, and even though subsequent studies, including a government investigation, found no causal link between the vaccinations and the reported illnesses, the recommendation has never been reinstated. Into this mix, a study led by Toshiro Nakajima of Tokyo Medical University sought to examine the biological basis for the anecdotal condition using a mouse model. In their study, mice were injected with vast doses of Gardasil, approximately 1,000 times greater than what people receive, and were also injected with a drug called pertussis toxin, PTX, that broke down the blood-brain barrier, letting Gardasil more effectively penetrate the animal's nervous system. Administered with this heady cocktail, the mice displayed what the researchers described as a surprising lack of tail reflex, plus impairments to locomotive mobility, and even brain damage. These results will give us the new insight into the marine pathological model of HANS and help us to find a way to treat of patients suffering from HANS, the authors concluded. But once the study was published and other researchers saw how far removed the experiment was from the dosage reality of HPV vaccinations, not to mention the muddled addition of a surplus toxin, outrage resulted. Basically, this is an utterly useless paper, a waste of precious animals, surgical oncologist David Gorski from the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute in Detroit commented on his blog that critical feedback, some of which was directly addressed to scientific reports for publishing the flawed study in the first place, has finally been listened to and acted upon, with the journal retracting the paper last week, issuing the following notice. The publisher is retracting this article because the experimental approach does not support the objectives of the study. The retraction states, the study was designed to elucidate the maximum implication of human papillomavirus, HPV, vaccine, Gardasil, in the central nervous system. However, a co-administration of pertussis toxin with high levels of HPV vaccine is not an appropriate approach to determine neurological damage from HPV vaccine alone. While scientific reports points out that the study's authors do not agree with the retraction, others are celebrating that another example of anti-vax pseudoscience has been torn down, but not without considerable lament. At least the pseudoscience was retracted, science blogger Skeptical Raptor writes, but it's possibly too little and too late for the teens and young adults of Japan, who could have been protected from insidious cancers. Share this video with your friends and family. Like and share this video on Facebook and Twitter if you agree. Don't forget to support this channel by clicking on the donation link down below and subscribing so you never miss any of our trending reports. What do you think about this video? Scroll down to comment below. Now if you are seeking the latest trends in fashion, and electronics and gifts and more at the best prices, please feel free to visit www.atthismall.com. Once again, that is www.atthismall.com. If you are seeking the best in facial and clear skin regimens and products for women and men, including an opportunity to earn residual income, please visit our partner at www.jdro.my. r&f.com. All links are in the description box below.